So today I'm headed over to the shop to pick up my car because it had some stuff that needed to get worked on. But yeah, I'm just headed over there right now. So yesterday, as I was taking my car into the shop, I was thinking about some things, and then, after I took my car into the shop, I had quite a bit of time to think about stuff as I was walking around. And I was just thinking about how in life, sometimes it's good to just take a step and just walk places, Because there's all these people just whizzing around in their cars. But, it can be quite fun to just walk. Because then you can take time to just notice things, And I thought that was quite interesting. So the thing about walking is you're not really bound down by anything. You can just walk. And if you want to go in one direction, you can go in one direction. And if you want to go in another direction, you can go in another direction. It's really quite freeing. Except now we're waiting for that red light to turn green so we can go. I do feel like I should point out at this point, however, that the obstruction of a red light and then a green light is largely due to laws that I have agreed to follow, and as such, it's not actually a restriction of my freedom in that I've agreed to follow them or something like that. Because, if I've agreed to follow something, then is it actually a restriction of my freedom? Who knows? Anyway, that's just some thoughts that I had about walking and freedom. And what's this over here? It says here sidewalk closed, use other side, but the sidewalk doesn't appear to actually be closed. I think they're just trying to get people to not walk over that board because it looks like there's a hole underneath it. So I'm just gonna keep going. Okay, so the sidewalk really is closed. It just was a bit more along the way than the sign was. The construction workers were nice gents though, and they just let me cross where I wasn't supposed to. So, no harm done, but that right there is a classic example of how you can kind of get around some barriers if you're walking versus driving. Because I tell ya, if I had been driving, there is no way they would have let me go through that intersection in the spot that I'm not supposed to go. They would have had me, go and follow the little cones. And that's not to say that in a car I couldn't, drive over the cones and be reckless anyway, but I feel like there's a lot more leniency about people just walking where they'd like to walk, and it's very freeing for me, And it allows me to, take the time to not be in a rush to get someplace, and I can stop and, look at interesting things that I find along the way, and yeah, I think it's all really good to be walking. So it's interesting the things you get to notice if you're walking instead of driving. So you see here, it's got these bolts into another piece of metal from this piece of metal, and I was looking at that and man, these engineer peoples, they are fantastic. Because what this does is it lets them be able to change the sign if they want to, but also if it gets ran into, these will actually shear out because they're only held in by a little bit of metal there. And so it's perfectly stable unless hit by a large amount of force from one side. So it'll stay just fine, but if it gets hit by, say, a car, it doesn't, act like an immovable object, and so it just breaks away and doesn't damage your car as much. I just thought that was fascinating, and I wouldn't have seen that if I was driving. So now I've got my car back. So it turns out there was just some things wrong with the CV axles, which they were able to replace relatively easily. And I've got my car back now, so all's good there. This was just some thoughts that I had on walking while walking, because, walking, it's good stuff. Anyway, I want to say thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.